Now that we've looked at who our business is and how we compete, we now need to evaluate the strategy for our company and come up with a strategic plan going forward. So a strategy is a long-term plan that determines the direction an organization will take. And we're looking at the direction that our organization is going to take that's going to make us more competitive. So a long-term plan that determines the direction an organization takes to become competitive. So we need to build a strategy, which means we need to do some strategic planning. And strategic planning is simply the managerial process for determining our strategy. And since it's a managerial process, it falls under operations management. Operations is involved in developing the strategy for the organization. Now there are some key steps for strategic planning. So first we have to look at what is the scope of the business. So relate that back to the discussion we just had, which is what is our company trying to be? So what is our primary task? What is our core competency? How are we competing? So who are we? What are we trying to do? We then need to analyze the industry and look at what advantages we have versus our competition. So we're looking then at how much competition is there? What kind of bargaining power do our suppliers have? So as we negotiate prices and buy our supplies, how much power do we have versus a supplier in negotiations? How hard is it for new entrants to come into the industry? So is it easy for a competitor to pop up? Do customers have choices? Is it easy for them to substitute our product for someone else's or someone else's for us? What about the relationship we have with our customers? How much bargaining power do they have? So as we negotiate prices and what our product looks like with our customer base, who has the power in those negotiations? What trends are impacting our industry? Is there a change in technology and regulations? What kind of strategies are we currently using? Is it low cost? Are we focusing on a specific target or niche market, a group of people? Do we have a competitive advantage, and how can we sustain it if we do? How can we gain it if we don't? So we've looked at our competitors. Now we need to look at our customers. Who are they? So we come back to that key purchasing criteria. So what were those key purchasing criteria? There were 7 of them. Price, quality, variety, timeliness, customer service, reputation, and location. So how do our customers see us? What is their key purchasing criteria? Related to this, you can also dive into the order qualifiers, order winners, and we want to tie that back to how we position ourselves. Does it match? Does it match our core competency? So who are our customers? Why are they choosing us? What are they looking for from us? We need to further analyze our competitors. So what are some strengths and some strategies that our competitors are using that have been successful, that haven't been successful? So how are our competitors behaving, and why do they behave the way they do? We need to look at our position relative to our competitors. So what are our strengths and weaknesses in the mind of the customer? We need to look at the state of our company and what we do. So what are some major issues or challenges we're experiencing? Should we continue to grow and expand our business? Should we maintain it where it is? Should we shrink the size of our business? Then, after we've analyzed our customers, our competitors, and how we sit in terms of the customers and competitors, we need to start looking at what our goals should be. And so we then start looking at what are the strategies for the company. So we talk about those challenges. What are some strategies to resolve those challenges? What investments should we make? So do we need to buy additional equipment, additional locations? What action should we take to address those issues? We develop some goals to address them. And then we refine that. And we look at what actions, what steps we need to take, and who's going to do them to help us achieve those goals, resolve any challenges, and help us achieve that vision that we have of our company. So as you get to steps 7, 8, and 9 in your strategic planning, you're starting to outline the steps that you're going to take for your company in the future. Anytime you do strategic planning, we need to make sure that we have alignment between what our goals are and strategies are and who we are as a company. So we always need to align it with our mission. So where is the organization going? We need to align it with our vision. When we look in the future, what do we see for ourselves? And then we often have values for the organization, so some shared beliefs of the stakeholders. Does our strategy align with that? So we can actually look at an example here. So let's actually look at Red Deer College. And so Red Deer College mission is to strive to deliver the best education possible. We want to create an environment where excellence is expected. Okay? So the vision is to be your first choice. So we want students to choose us first, not as a backup plan, but we want to be their first choice. Red Deer College has a number of values, right? Maybe you've seen that spin wheel that has our values of accountability, exploration, excellence, inclusiveness, community, integrity. Okay, so those are our values, and I've just written a couple of them here. So whenever we create goals, our goals need to align to that mission and that vision and values. So an example of a goal would be to expand our learner pathways. So we want to increase accessibility. We want more students to have access to more opportunities. So then we need to drill down and create an organizational strategy. So if our goal is to expand learner pathways, the organizational strategy is to increase student access to programs. Okay. That way there's more routes for you to learn because you can go in all different routes in terms of the programs that you take. Once we have an organizational strategy, we then need to turn it into functional strategies. And that would depend then on what department you're in. Marketing, finance, operations. For this class, of course, we're focusing on operations. So what can we do within operations to increase student access to programs? And so one thing we can do within operations is we can create laddering. Right? So you could complete your management certificate and then that turned into 8 courses you needed in your diploma. The 20 courses in your diploma were 20 out of the 40 you needed in your BBA. So we can set up the product we're offering you in operations to create that laddering opportunity. So you can see alignment between our mission and our vision, So best education possible, create an opportunity for exploration and inclusiveness, be your first choice. And so we're doing that by expanding your learner pathways, increasing your access to programs, and we're going to do that through creating laddering opportunities. So then from there, you need some tactics and an action plan. So when we talk about tactics are medium-term plans, and there's something that you're going to do in the next 2 years or so. And once you have a tactic, you then drill down even further into an action plan. And our action plan is going to be what we need to do to accomplish our objectives. So action plans will feed into tactics. Tactics will get us to our strategies. Strategies will add to the goal. So our project to accomplish an objective. These are going to be assigned to individuals. They're going to have deadlines, and it's going to be short term. So these are really the next steps to get started. So to continue with our discussion about laddering, for example, our tactic could be to collaborate with Mount Royal, and our action plan, or collaborate with an institution, and our action plan could be to find the institution. We could assess market demand, so what kind of programs do we want to be able to ladder into? What kind of institutions do we want to partner up with? Our action plan would include petitioning the government for funding for these programs. So essentially our action plan is the number of next steps that we would do in order to get to that medium-term plan of a collaboration with an institution. To give you another example of alignment, this is a Canadian Superstore. So their mission is to be Canada's best food, health, and home retailer by exceeding customers' expectations through innovative products at great prices. So their goal is to offer the lowest prices among the competition. So organization-wide, the strategy is to lower costs. The operations strategy then focuses on what falls under operations. So we're going to lower production costs. If we lower the cost to get our inventory, then or to run our business, then it'll lower the cost company-wide, which will mean we'll be able to offer lower prices to our competition. So some example of tactics we could take. Well, we could centralize our administration, so we don't have to pay for overhead for multiple locations. So the first step of action then would be to move the headquarters. We could negotiate lower wages with our union. So first step is to have a conversation with the union. We could control some of our buying activities, and we could do so by starting to look for a cheaper supplier or more suppliers. And so we can outline some steps, the first couple steps, in order to help us lower production costs by looking at our buying activities. So whenever you're coming up with your strategic plan, once you've evaluated your customers, your competition, the status of your company currently, then the next step is to create alignment between the goals that you have, the strategies you're going to take to achieve them, and then drill down into your tactics and your action plan.